Human behavior is fragile. Under the right, or wrong, circumstances, even the kindest person can become cruel, obedient to evil, or indifferent to suffering. What you're about to see isn't science fiction. These were real experiments, conducted by real psychologists, on real people. Some were meant to explore the human mind. Others crossed ethical boundaries that would never be allowed today, from simulated prisons to shock machines, from brainwashing to childhood trauma. These are the strangest psychological experiments ever conducted. And yes, they really happened. The Stanford Prison Experiment, 1971. A basement in Stanford University is turned into a mock prison. 24 students, half assigned as guards, half as prisoners. Within 24 hours, things spiral. The guards, once ordinary college kids, begin humiliating, punishing, and psychologically tormenting their classmates. Some prisoners break down. Others become submissive. No one told them to be cruel, but the role did. The experiment was meant to last 14 days. It was shut down after 6. It proved one terrifying thing: when people are given power and anonymity, they change. The Milgram Obedience Experiment, beginning on August 7, 1961, a series of social psychology experiments were conducted by Yale University psychologist Stanley Milgram, who intended to measure the willingness of study participants to obey an authority figure who instructed them to perform acts conflicting with their personal conscience. Imagine being told to shock a stranger. Harder and harder, up to 450 volts. That's what Stanley Milgram tested in the early 1960s. Participants believed they were helping with a memory experiment. But the real test? How far would they go? Simply because a man in a lab coat said, "Keep going," 65% of people delivered what they thought were fatal shocks. Milgram's conclusion: most of us are capable of obeying horrific orders, if the command sounds official enough. The Monster Study was a non-consensual experiment performed on 22 orphan children in Davenport, University of Iowa in 1939 about stuttering. It was conducted by Wendell Johnson through the University of Iowa, with the physical experiment being performed by his graduate student Mary Tudor. They wanted to know, can stuttering be taught? Stuttering is a speech disorder characterized by repetition of sounds, syllables, or words, prolongation of sounds, and interruptions in speech known as blocks. They took 22 orphans and split them into groups. One group was praised. The other was bullied, criticized, told their speech was broken, even when it wasn't. The result: some children in the negative group developed lifelong speech problems, stutters that lasted for decades. They were never told it was fake. It's now remembered as one of the darkest experiments in speech therapy history. The Little Albert Experiment. What if you could teach a baby to fear something forever? That's what John Watson attempted in 1920. He took a 9-month-old baby, known only as Little Albert, and introduced him to a white rat. At first, Albert was curious, but then Watson began pairing the rat with loud, terrifying noises. Over time, Albert began to cry, not just at the rat, but at anything white and fluffy: a rabbit, a dog, even a Santa beard. Watson proved fear could be conditioned. But at what cost? Albert was never desensitized. His fear lasted beyond the experiment. To this day, no one knows for sure what happened to him. The Third Wave Experiment, 1967. A California history teacher wanted to demonstrate his students how easily people could be swayed by a movement, even one with fascist undertones. So he created a movement. A fake one. It had a name, the Third Wave. He gave them slogans, salutes, rules, uniformity. In just 5 days, students began reporting each other, shaming outsiders. They were completely immersed. On day 5, the teacher revealed the truth: they had become what they thought they were immune to. He ended the experiment, but the lesson stuck: conformity is powerful. More powerful than we like to admit. The Bobo Doll Experiment. In the 1960s, psychologist Albert Bandura wanted to test something radical: Do children learn violence by watching it? He showed young children a video of an adult attacking an inflatable clown, the Bobo doll, hitting it, kicking it, yelling at it. Then he gave the children the same doll. The result, almost every child imitated the aggression, even added new violent actions. Bandura proved something the media didn't want to hear: children learn by watching, especially violence. Project MKUltra. From the 1950s to the 1970s, the CIA ran a secret program, codenamed MKUltra. Its goal, mind control, using drugs like LSD, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation. The CIA experimented on prisoners, psychiatric patients, and even unknowing citizens. Some were dosed without consent. Others were tortured. The idea was to create truth serums, or break a mind completely. Many experiments were destroyed when the program was exposed, but what remains in public records is chilling. MKUltra is now seen as one of the most disturbing government-sponsored experiments in modern history. The Rosenhan experiment, 1973. Can psychiatrists tell who is truly insane? In the 1970s, psychologist David Rosenhan wanted to challenge the validity of psychiatric diagnoses, so he devised a bold plan. He and 7 other mentally healthy people, pseudo-patients, walked into different psychiatric hospitals across the US. They said just one thing: "I hear a voice saying, thud." That was it. No other symptoms, no history of mental illness. Yet all of them were diagnosed with schizophrenia, and admitted they acted normally after that, told staff they felt fine, but no one believed them. Some were kept locked up for weeks. One stayed for 52 days. Doctors saw every normal behavior: journaling, note-taking, or pacing, as part of the illness. Rosenhan's conclusion was devastating: once you're labeled insane, everything you do is seen through that lens. The system couldn't tell who was actually sick. The study embarrassed the psychiatric world, and even today, it raises haunting questions. How do we define sanity, and who gets to decide? So what do these experiments tell us? That under pressure, authority, or manipulation, the human mind can be twisted. We are programmable, suggestible, conditionable, but knowing that is the first step to resisting it. These were the strangest psychological experiments ever conducted, and they were 100% real. If you want more journeys into the hidden depths of the human mind, subscribe to Brain Odyssey and join us every week. Until next time, keep thinking deeper.